Enjoy this special episode of the Dude Facts Podcast.
Welcome to the Dude Facts Podcast. We're so glad you're here. We're four guys that are united by a love for coffee, Jesus, and corny jokes. In the past, we all served in ministry together. In the present, we create podcasts to help you get through your week. And in the future, we aspire to be the granddad that teaches his grandkids to pull his finger. So if you love Java, Jesus, and dad jokes, you're going to fit right in. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of Joe, and enjoy this week's episode of the Dude Facts Podcast.
Hey, what is up, Dude Faxers? This is Jeff, and we have something very exciting for you today. 2024 has been amazing thus far, but guess what? We're going to slow down. We're going to take some time just to breathe a little bit. And today we're going to give you a little best of 2024 thus far as we get ready to head in towards May. And you might be saying, oh man, this is not going to be a new episode, but hey, you're going to get some stuff that you loved. You're going to get some stuff that really is fun to revisit, but also maybe some things that you missed so far in 2024. You're going to hear from me today, some new stuff, but also from R-Dub, Ryan Williams. He's going to drop in and share some cool things with you today. So there will be some new content on today's show. So first, in this initial segment, we're going to talk news. We've covered a lot of different news stories over the course of 2024 thus far. And we on Dude Facts like to focus on some of the more humorous and interesting news of the world. Have you guys heard this story? This is just from about a month ago. On Easter, an Arizona mother tased her son because he wouldn't get up for Easter church services. Seriously, there's a story. Arizona mother used taser to wake son for Easter church service. She said, "Get up. It's Jesus' day." Sharon Dobbins, 40 years old, in an interview with an Arizona news station. And her 16-year-old son was tased on the leg in order for him to get up for Jesus' big day. Now, I don't know about you, but that is a way to get the Holy Ghost party started. She got it started. That's right. You're going to tase him so he can praise him. Is that how it goes? I think what's most impressive about this to me is the fact that a millennial parent did this. I'm shocked. I'm surprised she just didn't send him to a safe space or something. She tased her son. Wild. I'm not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. I'm just really baffled by the whole thing. But that's one technique. I want you to enjoy these other clips of us over the course of 2024 talking about some of the wild things going on in the news. Check this out. Have you guys seen this this picture that's floating around of Patrick Mahomes and his dad bod?
Oh yeah, I saw his little gut hanging over.
So Patrick Mahomes is not the ripped individual you might think he is. He is a definitely a dad rocking his dad bod.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that. Chiefs coach
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid has Mahomes on his workout plan.
Yep.
It must be why
he's definitely not a father figure.
he always wears a what's it called, a Under Armour type shirt, like compression shirt tucked into his pants.
Yep.
So that makes sense. Even during
it's not
the
Skims?
not cold games.
Well, I saw something floating out there of Tom Brady, but it was like when Tom Brady first started and he really had the dad bod going because he got healthier as he got older. But Tom Brady shirtless, Patrick Mahomes shirtless, both dad bods, and said, hey, these are like considered the greatest two quarterbacks of all time. And they're just hanging that gut out. So it gives hope to flabby white men everywhere.
Hey,
You
don't
dang
have to have
picklewood.
you don't have to have a six-pack to chuck a ball down the field.
That's right.
There he is.
Oh, there it is. Woo! At first, I thought Patrick Mahomes was joining us. I was excited.
What's up, Mahomes?
That's considered like out of shape. I'm like,
Yeah.
I wish I could be that.
I feel like the picture I saw had it kind of like flapping over that waistline a little
even
bit.
the skinniest person, if they like kind of like hunch over, like their gut's gonna kind of pooch up.
The real conspiracy is that guy that's behind. Oh, that's DK. You see the guy behind Patrick Mahomes in that picture?
Yeah.
What kind of camera does that guy? Is he from 1972?
Oh, yeah, it looks like it came off of Lost.
Super 8.
What if it's one of those
Maybe,
fat freeze guns, like liposuction, like freeze the fat away? Maybe
That's what it is.
Coming after him.
yeah.
It's time for your lipo.
It looks like a camera they'd used to make a prop in a Star Wars movie.
Yep. So it's
remember-
safe to say. Oh no, go ahead.
You remember a couple years ago, there's that picture of Vin Diesel on a yacht with his shirt off.
Oh yeah.
And like people were roasting at him because it looked like he gained a couple pounds since Fast and Furious, whatever. Probably 29 at that point. I don't know what it was. And people are commenting like, look at him with his shirt off on a yacht. And they're saying, yeah, but look at you, wearing a shirt in your grandma's basement. It's like we judge, but look at us.
Yep. Well, it's safe to say that Patrick Mahomes has been.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
I can't blame
He
him.
didn't forget that honey sauce.
Yep, he did not. He has been tasting that biscuit with Andy Reid. So yeah. An article came out this week revealing the most sinful states. So the Super Bowl was in Sin City, and no surprise, Nevada was actually the number one most sinful state. It was Nevada number one, Louisiana number two, which they have New Orleans.
Yeah.
So maybe
A lot of casinos.
California, so no surprise there.
Really?
Florida man was number 4, and then number 5, Tennessee. Tennessee. So we are the 3rd most southern and 5th most sinful. We are dominating.
We are. I mean, that averages out to what, a 3.5?
Yeah. I mean, we
Or
are
4.5.
It's got to be like mostly like bachelorette parties in Nashville holding down that number.
I was thinking that in Memphis.
Yeah, just Memphis.
Well, and based off the picture you sent us today, it could also be the Electric Cowboy here in Clarksville.
That's true.
We'll be adding to that.
Yeah.
Whoa. What about truck nuts?
Truck nuts.
Are those from Tennessee?
I don't know. I've only ever seen them out there.
We do have we're the home of Jack Daniels, so I don't know.
Yeah, but that's a dry county.
We did just have a guy arrested for making like 80 bottles of moonshine or something.
Yeah.
Which I told you in my Alabama rant last time that we have
Oh
real
yeah,
moonshine. We
there's
talked
plenty
about
of people making real moonshine.
Yeah,
in
right
Tennessee.
after we recorded, this dude was arrested. Like the news article came out. So
Where was that at?
I'm sure East Tennessee somewhere.
Yeah. Most likely.
Well, and we're going to get to Josh's rant on Alabama here in a little bit when we get to comments. But, yeah, what were you going to say, Josh?
Well, I was just saying I have the article here that we looked at that talked about Tennessee being the 5th most sinful state. And it looks at things like illicit or immoral behavior, violent crimes, excessive drinking, gambling, things like that. But then they actually have actual sins rated between states. So
America!
number 5 overall, we were actually number 3 for anger and hatred. So well done.
Okay.
Well done.
It's because of all the potholes. Probably.
Wait, what kind of holes?
Those dang potholes.
Pot. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and the driving, because we've already talked about all the cities in Tennessee where driving is like amongst the worst,
Oh yeah.
including the CLV. I wouldn't be surprised if that is so high because of driving.
Road rage.
Yeah, could be. We were 15th for jealousy. So
Well, yeah, because you live in Tennessee.
I think Tennessee's a great state.
Yeah.
We were number, let's see, we were 5th for lust.
Yeah. That just means there's a lot of beautiful people
That's
here.
all
right?
there is. Yeah. And we were
Look at my sexy body.
It is Valentine's.
It is.
We're talking about love.
and
Not
we were
lust.
number 2 for excesses and vices.
You dang picklewood.
That feels like a broad
It does. It's all the moonshine.
category. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broad category.
We're just gonna blame
Talking about
Joey
broads.
for that one.
It's Joey.
That's
Yeah,
all-
Joey moved
all,
back.
All Joey, yeah. See, California is going to slowly dip down, and Tennessee is going to rise up.
I will say that
I don't
when
know.
I moved to Tennessee, it was the getting used to just alcohol being sold everywhere was a weird thing for me, mainly because I grew up in a dry county, and it was like a foreign substance in my hometown most of my youth.
So Texas was number 7. So
Yeah.
so it's not far behind.
Well, I mean that's
Tennessee.
probably like Houston and Austin just
Yeah.
taking the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Hey,
Those
here's
two
a different
cities-
take though. I was surprised to see California so high on that list. Honestly, yeah.
Why?
I mean, when you're about to go to Anaheim, right, Jeff?
Yep.
When's the last time any of you guys were out in California?
Second grade,
Yeah.
About 4 years ago.
38 years ago.
I flew through LAX a few years ago.
Well, no one in LAX is really from LA, of course. Only the people that work there. But Jeff, what were you there for, and where were you?
For some Army training at Fort Irwin, California. Oh, yeah. It's out in the middle of the desert. I mean,
Yeah.
really not much out there except for jackrabbits.
I mean, I feel like we're West Coast out here in Washington, and our gas prices are about the same as California, if not a little more sometimes. We have terrible gas laws here in Washington. But I don't know, man. Other than it being just expensive to live there, like people dog it for like being liberal, but like most of the friends that I have there are pretty conservative and super liberal counties. But
Well, it's all San Francisco.
have you been to San Francisco?
It's beautiful.
It's great.
It's
Yeah.
all nuts. I used to hear.
I will say that I think a lot of those conservative areas in California probably contribute to the sin number just as much.
Yeah.
I would say more. I would say more so.
Yeah.
Way more so.
Yeah.
Because all the conservative friends I have are pretty moderate in the scheme of the U.S., but like in L.A. County, they're super conservative. But I don't know.
You have Disney.
surprising.
There. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more sinful than
Yeah.
that.
Wasn't the show
don't know.
Sons of Anarchy, I believe, was set in California?
See,
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot of
Set in
problems
Cal.
there.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a fictitious show.
About real life
So-
events.
The Hell's Angels, they're from California.
did I
Yeah.
tell you guys,
Tupac.
I don't.
Yeah, come on.
Did I tell y'all that San Francisco has a poop map? Did we talk about that?
No.
Yeah, the poop
I
bandits.
I think we talked about it not on the podcast.
Not on the podcast.
A poop map.
Because I remember
Yeah.
talking about my experience in New Orleans and how I wish New Orleans would have had that map.
Oh.
So like places that you can poop or places to avoid
No.
because
Places
there's
where
Places
people
where
large
there are
areas
poop.
of poop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of there's such a large homeless population there that they got to go wherever, and so someone created this app where when you were out, if there was someone there, you would tag it, and as you zoom in, it's just these little like poop emojis up on the map. But
Oh.
there's so much when you zoom out, it looks like all of San Francisco is just like a brown blob because it's so
But
far
is-
spread.
Is public poopication a sin?
No, we all public poop before.
Doesn't it say in Deuteronomy
Indoor.
not to poop in your
The
camp?
smell of it
Oh.
is a sin, that's for sure.
But what if you poop in another camp? Is that public poopination?
Poop in somebody else's.
So Washington
Yeah.
was 25, Grant. So you're like halfway, like right in the middle. You guys are riding the fence.
That's most
Take
of
it.
the forest anyways.
Yeah. Oregon was 32.
Uh,
So
they're smaller though. I
yeah,
get
yeah,
that.
your neck of the woods. Wyoming was number 50, so it is the least sinful state, and we determined that's because there's just one guy and a sheep there.
'Cause there's nobody there.
Which you'd think a lot of sin would happen for a guy and a sheep.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically a whole book in the Bible written
Well,
about that situation.
But I mean, the volume of sin is not much because only one guy's doing
Well,
it.
that's my thing. That's my beef.
But the per capita sinning.
It should be based on like the percentage of sin per the entire population, not the total amount of sin. Because if that's the case, Wyoming might be pretty high, depending on who this guy is.
Yeah. How did they measure this? Did
I wonder how God calculates this.
How much do you sin?
They ask people how much they send.
It's a survey.
Maybe they just talk to priests and they'd say, "Here's what came into confession this week."
Maybe.
Well,
And
give it to us Tennessean. He'd be standing on the road. Prius, sinner. Prius, sinner. Tesla, sinner.
Well, Wyoming, the poor guy's like, "Yeah, this one guy keeps coming in talking about a sheep."
He has to come all the way to Nebraska because there's no priest in Wyoming. It's probably the same guy that measured the poop map in San Francisco. Like, how do you measure that? You go around and like calculate poop.
I just
smell it all.
One of those like digital like measuring tapes with the wheel that you roll around, just like going around San Francisco with a map marking where the poop is.
Yeah,
rinsing it off every couple miles.
But yeah, this is funny. So the southern states actually were high. South Carolina was 6.
This is the poop map of San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Just
emojis going.
That's not many. They're big, but there's not many.
Does the
that was like
zoomed
the whole
out?
size of it.
Does the size mean there's a higher concentration of it?
As I zoom in,
so if you zoom in, there's
one,
more. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, look, all those are poops.
Yeah. That's like
it would be great.
Poop.
Half of those are.
Yeah.
It would be great if Josh's finger was now brown.
How many Taco Bells are there in San Francisco? It's probably a contributing factor.
Yeah, it's sad.
Live Mas.
That it's like that. But, that's one reason I haven't been back to California.
So we live on the border. Oh, yikes. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out. Or maybe you're not. But we live on the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. I am happy to report that Kentucky was 35. So really, I think Clarksville sort of falls right there. And maybe some of that 35 is slipping.
I don't think so.
Are you saying that North Clarksville and Oak Grove are sinful?
Hey, you're in a military town, mister. They have chaplains for a reason, Mr. Jeff.
That's true. That's why I'm here.
And they have multiple chaplains.
I will say that casino in Oak Grove is sinful, and not because of the gambling, just because it's terrible.
And I think I just have a lot of fun, like they're poking around military bases, making grown men scream.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. If you saw this article, all of you folks out there listening, let us know what you think.
How sinful are you?
Yeah. Because, we're
Totally.
not police, but,
Let's take a survey
you
of
can
our
confess.
listeners.
Yeah.
How sinful are you?
What are your vices?
In the comments, write what you've done today.
What's that count?
Where do you poop?
Yeah.
Write in the comments where you poop.
Hey, what is up, Dude Facts listeners? We are always so excited to interact with you guys on a weekly basis on social media or on our YouTube videos for the podcast. If you are not already following us on there, go check us out. We have a great time over there. And with that being said, let's get into this week's comments.
It's time for comments.
All right. Okay, so let's start out with we had a post we posted about our top 10 new McDonald's menu items we would suggest. And we had some responses to that, some additional submissions, you might say. So Jeff came in on Instagram with a late submission of filet-o-fish fries, and something with salmon, which I think filet-o-fish fries is a great choice. I would probably eat those unashamedly. It reminds me of chicken fries at Burger King. Kind of the same principle with fish, you know. And then Sand and Coffee, he came through and said, maybe you can get them to sponsor you and add Grant's McPickle on a stick, which I don't know if I'd want to eat Grant's McPickle on a stick. Maybe if it was deep fried. I'm not just eating a pickle on a stick. That's a little much. I don't know who am I kidding? I probably would. You put it on a dollar menu, I'll probably eat anything. It's whatever. Um, and then so let's move on. We had some other videos. So one of the things the guys talked about last week while I was out was about Teslas, and we posted some videos on Instagram and TikTok about that, and we had some varied responses. So I found out by reading these that you guys, not you guys, but people on the internet care a lot about what other people drive. Just put a lot of thought into it, and it's really funny. So let's go through some of these. So let's see. We got West Virginia Pork Chop on Instagram said they are built terribly. Parts are super hard to come by. There's virtually no aftermarket support to them, and they can be shut down with the click of a keyboard. So many reasons. Do you want? I'm thinking he meant do you don't want it? I'm not sure. And then so in that same vein, somebody also had Andrew Lux on Facebook said bad business practices and implementation all the way. Everything is proprietary. That means when something goes wrong, you have to pay exorbitant amounts to Tesla to get it fixed. They hamstring the customer in every way possible. And so many things are interconnected that when one goes wrong, the entire car turns into a brick and can only be fixed by an expensive repair from Tesla. On both of those comments, I thought was funny. People already do that and have been for years with exotic European cars. You know how many of those cars that you can find virtually no aftermarket parts for, and to get them worked on, you got to take them to some specialist 2 cities away that works only on exotic cars, which, by the way, how do you get into that job as a mechanic? I feel like that's a really weird niche. Anyways, so a couple other comments here. We had somebody said, get off the grid. You need an internet connection to update it, and charging it off of one of those panels takes way too long to depend on. Which I'm going to honestly say is a valid point there. The internet is not truly off grid, and solar panels, we might need some technological advancements before they're ready for full off grid usage. But I think it's a good direction to go in. And let's see, one more. Oh, I want to go back to Andrew Lux here. He said, if you want an electric vehicle company to get behind as a conservative, look into Edison Motors, which, if you know anything about the history of Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, that's just funny to me. Encouraging people to go to Edison over Tesla, because that already happened in the past, even though Tesla was a better technology. Just an interesting food for thought there, and by the way my brain works. And I also want to end with a couple comments from Tad on YouTube for last week's episode, and had some good thoughtful comments here. Tad, also happy to see you back in the comment section. We've missed you. Hoping to see more of you. So in relation to last week's video, the guys talked about prayer and all the things around that. And Tad, he commented 2 things on Facebook or on YouTube. So first one, Tad said, when I see somebody ask for prayer on Facebook, I stop and pray for them and their request, because I might forget. After praying, I type, I just said a prayer for you, Tad. Tad, that is wonderful. I know that there's been a few times that I've asked for prayer on Facebook when I've been in situations, or, had like a family member in the hospital or something like that. It's always really encouraging when people reply back saying that they prayed. And that's not necessarily why you do it, but when you see that as a person who's, who just needs some comfort, some support, that goes a long way. And it's really appreciative. And in kind of in that same vein, Tad's next comment said, when I was waiting for my kidney transplant, I would have people I didn't know come and ask if I was the UPS driver that needed a kidney. Because of them, or their social studies, not social studies, I'm sorry, Sunday school class, or even church were praying for me. As a Christian and as a strong believer in prayer, it always meant so much to me. It didn't mean that I instantly got a kidney. Actually, I got a call 4 times from my transplant team telling me that they had set up the surgery, and 4 times they would call back telling me the transplant fell through. It didn't mean that people quit praying. Actually, it seemed more people would tell me they were praying. I knew God was in control the whole time and never doubted his plan for me. Whether I got a kidney or not, I did get the kidney on the 5th try. And then that's all I got, Tad. Tad, we really appreciate your comments there. That is a great point. Just because you ask for prayer and people pray for you doesn't mean you get, if you're asking for prayer for something specific, doesn't mean you get that. But it does mean that you get the comfort in knowing that you have a support system of believers behind you, whether you know them or not. However your prayer request got passed to them, they are there supporting you, and you can just trust that God's plan is in action, and then that his will be done in your situation. And that's we can take comfort in that as believers. I think that's a very good thing to look on in those type of situations. But anyways, like I said, guys, if you're not following us on social media, or checking out our comments section on YouTube, do that. It's awesome. We love interacting with you guys there, and we will always take that, and we might get your comment read on the show like this. There's a lot of good stuff comments wise from the past several weeks. So I've got a lot here. Let's go through and we'll pick out some good ones. So I'll start out with Ethan on our last week's episode of our best of 2023 Dude Facts episode, which if you haven't watched that and haven't listened to all our episodes or haven't watched all our episodes, go check that out. It's a good recap of some of the highlights from last year. But Ethan said, he said, I will always love the humor from y'all, which we appreciate that, Ethan. I know that our wives would probably not agree, but we're glad that somebody appreciates our humor. And Ethan also said, I think I'd like to see trivia and or competitive games from y'all to see what chaos would come from it. And then somebody screenplay on YouTube said like Jeopardy and someone host it would be amazing. Or Ethan
what
said,
is Jeopardy?
Like Family Feud or a Dude Feud. So
I like clever. Dude Feud.
Yeah, I think that might be something that has to happen.
Yeah,
at some point. My question is, can we get Steve Harvey to host it?
I hope so.
He might. I mean, with what Cat Williams? Is that guy? Is that the one that said stuff about Steve Harvey last week?
Oh yeah. Right. Yep. And Kevin
so he might be
Hart.
looking for a job.
That's it. Sure. Jeff, you did a wedding at Steve Harvey's ranch, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
So maybe you are in
for one of Oakcrest's former youth. Yep. Need to call Jessie up and see if she still got the connections.
Yeah, but can you get us in touch with Steve?
Her dad.
Yeah.
Her dad's name is Steve too.
That'd be amazing.
Silas, as a 2-year-old, danced with Steve Harvey's daughter. So,
all right.
He did.
It's like it's a famous adjacent story.
So a real quick story about that. This is funny. So, if for those who are listening don't know, one of my former youth who was in the youth group with Ryan, Jessie, she had this story where she was marrying a soldier. Long story short, Steve Harvey, she went on the Steve Harvey show and he decided to plan a wedding for her and pay for it. And so she called me up and asked me to officiate it. So I did this wedding for a former youth that was on Steve Harvey's ranch outside of Dallas, and it was on TV on the Steve Harvey show. And my entire family came with me. And my daughter, Karis, at the time, she was like 5, 6 years old. Anyways, she was so excited about the prospect of being on TV. And so, of course, we go do the wedding. They film the whole thing, camera crews there. The day that it's supposed to come out on TV, we DVR it because I think it was there in the day or something. And we sit down to watch. Actually, my wife and I sat down and watched it. And we, it was good, done well. But they only showed like Karis's shoulder in one shot, and that was it. And so Karis was all excited to watch it because she's like, I'm going to be on TV. This is going to be sweet, and all that good stuff. Well, then the entire thing airs, and Stephanie and I were both like, we're a little nervous because Karis is going to be so upset. And it actually shows her at the very end, her shoulder. And so that part with the shoulders, like not until the end. So it shows that part, and then it cuts off and it's over. And we're just waiting for the tears to flow. And she turns around and looks at us, and she was like, my shoulder was on TV. She was so excited. And I was like, well, it doesn't take much to, get her excited. So, yeah, funny story.
Yeah, that's the Mike Wazowski, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be on TV.
That's that glass half full attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We can all learn from that.
It's like I'm on Netflix for 2.5 seconds. It's great.
Oh, that's right. I remember you showed us that.
Oh
Yeah.
Let's see. We got some other good comments here. So we had a couple of sports related TikToks go out there. One talking, reigniting the LeBron versus Jordan debate. Which I feel like it's
because
less of a debate, more of like just a bunch of people being wrong. But we had a comment from Brian Reeves, the voice of Austin P.
Yeah.
Who said Jordan, end of discussion, which
right.
I feel like that says enough right there. And then I believe Tyler also commented on. Yeah, Tyler said, but MJ would win all of the season tournaments because I believe LeBron had just lost a season tournament.
The in-season tournament? No, didn't they win it? I think the Lakers won it, and they even put it up in their arena. That they won
that's
an
right.
in-season
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They have a
They put
banner,
it up in their
Staples
arena,
Center.
and people were upset because
So dumb.
they were like, "Man, why isn't that's not a championship banner?" And then also we talked a little bit about Austin P basketball.
Let's go P.
Clarksville, and we had a couple comments. So Aiden Stewart on TikTok said, "Oh yeah, boys, y'all don't know about Hansel. He's a legend." Which I mean, watching that gameplay of him, he definitely is a legend.
Y'all don't know.
And we also had on Instagram on the same video, we had them talking about Brian Reeves said that we're invited to come out to a game and check him out so we can go out and see Hansel in person. And then we had
hey, do I get a rain check for that one?
We'll FaceTime you in.
Yeah, we'll put you. We'll make sure you're there. But then it's your boy that guy said, "Are you talking about at Emmanuel Hansel?" And we said, "Of course." And he's awesome. So
what if that was Emmanuel Hansel? That's his handle.
He has
no
two
pun
accounts.
intended. Handle.
That's our boy.
That would be awesome, actually. Go into accounts and be like, "Hey, y'all heard about this guy?" Like, feed him to his main account. That would be great.
Yeah.
Clapping like.
We also had Seiko dropped back in the comments on TikTok on our video, morphing us all into 1930s fashion. Seiko said, "Ryan, you better stop looking at me like that." And if you haven't seen that video, there's all of us turn into like we have like very distinct, like we look like somebody else. But a lot of people pointed out that I looked like Leonardo DiCaprio, which I thought was really funny that we had, I think Jeff, you said it originally when you texted us that video, but also we just had people randomly say that on our social media.
Yeah. I thought you did have a very seductive look about you.
I've been told
So.
that. Yeah. That's what they tell me at work on a daily basis.
Oh, nice.
I think I need to call HR, but it'll be okay. Let's get a couple more in here.
And I thought Grant looked like a young Christopher Walken in that.
Grant definitely looked like a young Christopher Walken, but he also acts like Christopher Walken, so
What?
That made sense. That makes me.
I'm gonna give you this watch.
Of him on SNL, he's like, and next, Foo Fighters.
Foo
I'm
Fighters.
pronouncing that. And
his role in Joe Dirt, man.
Oh my!
Smash his face with a soldering iron.
And then Humble But Right commented on our video of us opening gifts, and we talked about dude wipes because I was gifted some dude wipes. He said, speaking as a heavy sweater and a regular coffee bar visitor every Sunday morning, rocking dude wipes makes the perfect top to bottom sense. Which I think is I've used the dude wipes since then, and I would agree they're pretty good. But I will say, in my personal review of them, they kind of leave me a little too wet, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
so I have to take some regular TP after and dry it off.
I don't know if I want to know what you mean.
As a bidet user, I'm curious at the comparative experience. Please.
Well, they're
maybe we should try it live on the podcast.
There's like a tingle to them, which is nice. Almost like a menthol. It's pretty. It's a weird sensation. I never thought I'd feel.
What is your problem?
And then I'll end with Sand and Coffee commented on us and said, "Glad you guys entered the podcasting world. Grateful for your content and hard work every week. And we also appreciate you as a loyal listener of the Dude Facts podcast and all of our other loyal listeners of the Dude Facts podcast."
That's right. Thank you, Sand and Coffee. So Seiko did write us a direct message as well on TikTok, a couple of messages. You know how you can like wave at people on TikTok? Well, he waved because I was on, I think, posting a video. And I said, "What's up? Happy New Year." And he said, "Happy New Year." This was like on the 28th of December. He said, "Happy New Year. Hope everything is going great for all of you." And I replied back. And then I tagged him in the MJ versus LeBron video. And he wrote back on that. He said, "Can I say LeBron has 5 rings and 5 MVPs now?" He said, "Yes, I do know Jordan has 6 and 6, LOL." So good that Seiko's giving us some good-natured commenting as well.
Oh, yeah. We love Seiko. We always love to hear your incorrect opinions about LeBron and Jordan.
That's right. Hey, welcome back, my friends. You know what? There's nothing more exciting than to see new people rise to superstardom. And we are seeing it right now with Caitlin Clark. She's amazing. And this week we had the women's NBA draft, the WNBA draft. And let me tell you, there's no better place to get your women's basketball coverage than from a bunch of dudes that don't watch women's basketball. Am I right? Of course, you're going to come here to get your women's basketball news. But in all seriousness, I have begun to watch more of the women's game more than ever, really primarily because of Caitlin Clark. I'm just being honest. I started watching a little bit last year because she was amazing. Watched a little bit more this year because she's incredible. She shoots like Steph Curry. She's a pretty exciting, explosive player. I can't wait to see what she does at the professional level. It's not because I don't like women's sports. I enjoy watching women's sports. I've seen some incredible things, especially in the Olympics. We get introduced to women's sports quite a bit. And my son plays basketball, and I get to watch his games. He plays middle school basketball. And I also get to watch the girls play. And let me tell you, the girls oftentimes are way more physical. And it's pretty crazy. you go out there, you're going to get punched. It's some intense basketball action. But nonetheless, Caitlin Clark is blowing things up. And since she has sort of earned this title, at least arguably earning this title of GOAT already at the college level, it's got me thinking, do we need to revisit the GOAT talk now between MJ, LeBron, but now insert Caitlin Clark? I know our boy Seiko wants this conversation to be had, so let's have it. I'm going to say right now, Michael Jordan, Caitlin Clark, then LeBron. We'll see. I mean, the jury's still out. Caitlin's still got to prove it at the top level, right? But she's doing some pretty impressive things. I mean, Michael really got people excited, an entire generation excited about basketball, not only with the way that he played, but also with the fact that he had his shoe. So many people wanted it. He did all the commercials. People gravitated, and there wouldn't be a hype behind LeBron without Michael Jordan, even though LeBron is an incredible player as well. But Caitlin Clark is doing that for the women's game. That's why I'm already putting her number 2, because she's been incredible. But because I know everybody wants this, and Seiko sends us all these videos trying to convince us that LeBron is the GOAT. Look, LeBron's good. I'll give him that. But there's still only one GOAT.
All right, real quick, guys. Jeff asked me to pop in here and give my take on who is the greatest of all time. So we've got Michael Jordan, LBJ, or Caitlin Clark now in the mix. And I just want to say that, you know, as somebody who grew up in the 90s, Michael Jordan, he's always going to be top. I don't even care if somebody comes along that's better. If you watch that man play and just the excitement that was around sports in general from people who had no idea about sports at all, it was electric, and that it was a time to be alive. And who knows, maybe that'll come for somebody else this in the future. But as someone who's been around for LeBron James as well, it doesn't feel the same. It's just not the same. Anyway, so Michael Jordan up top, obviously. And then, you know, Caitlin Clark, a lot of people, especially guys, I don't want to say nothing, but there's really guys that are out there dogging Caitlin Clark, but you cannot deny the excitement and the just general buzz that she has brought to women's basketball. And she is honestly a joy to watch. She's great at the game. I really enjoy watching her, and really excited to see what she does in the WNBA and what she can do for the WNBA to, you know, help them grow as a platform and to become, you know, kind of on par as like an sports entertainment giant like the NBA has been for decades. I want to see the WNBA get to that point, and I would love to see Caitlin Clark, and so I'm going to put her at number 2, and then LBJ. I don't know why people want to know why Lyndon B. Johnson would be good at basketball. I don't know why he's even in the conversation. Did he even play basketball? I mean, he had a boat that was kind of cool that turned into a car that he would scare people with on his ranch, but I don't know if that's I don't know if that goes into the same conversation. What's that? Oh, LeBron James. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting told over here that it's not the 1960s politician Lyndon B. Johnson. It is LeBron James. LeBron, honestly, LeBron, he is great to watch. But you know, I just can't, in good conscience, put LeBron above Michael Jordan or Caitlin Clark simply because Seiko wants him to be the best, and I just have to go against what Seiko thinks to keep that going. You know, Seiko, if you're out there listening, Michael Jordan all day, baby.
Listen to this. One player has won the scoring title, regular season MVP, first team defensive player of the year, led the playoffs in scoring, and won the MVP finals. It's only happened 4 times that one single player has done all 5 of those things. Only 4 times in NBA history. Scoring title, regular season MVP, first team defensive player, led the playoffs in scoring, and won the finals MVP. It's only happened 4 times that one player has done all 5. And you know who those 4 players are? I'm going to list them for you right now. Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan. Jordan is the GOAT. Case closed. Boom. As we close out this special episode, listen to one of our favorite conversations this year.
Josh, you mentioned Jesus weeping for lost friends, weeping over Jerusalem. Now, often when we talk about having a soft heart, at least among guys, it's often viewed as weakness. What would you say to somebody who says, well, having a soft heart, that's a wimpy thing? How would you interact with that?
I guess I can understand why guys say that. Because so many men seem to be products of a home where there was if dad was present, suck it up, don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about.
Boy, are you a man?
Oh man, so many things to say to that, but so you can kind of see where that comes from. Like, there's just this whole culture of ruggedness, machismo, and honestly, we don't even have that as bad here as a lot of other countries. It seems like that's really intense when you get into some Central America, Caribbean countries, things like that. But that idea of always having it together, always being tough, weakness is shown if you cry or whatever. But I would say I think it takes more strength to be able to appropriately respond emotionally. Because if you're suppressing the sadness or the crying, that's going to come out in some other way that's not helpful. And so we're all going to release emotion in some way. And doing it appropriately takes strength and control. Releasing it in ways that aren't helpful or healthy, that's weakness. So I don't know. I think that might be a good way to help people kind of see it. That if you can do it rightly, I mean, that's because you're in control of your emotions and you're exhibiting them in the right way.
Well, even with that, men, just in general, we obviously know what sort of expected and what we've been taught, what our culture says, but we have this idea that men are supposed to be strong in general. And, for us, it's, hey, it's okay for men to be strong, but what defines strength? And so that's what we've got to reshape and look at, and specifically go to Scripture and say, well, what does God see as true strength? We think of things like vulnerability as not being strength, as meekness as not being strength, but these are things that we're taught, that Christ lived out, and really that is strength. Pride is something I think that oftentimes we confuse. I think we know it verbally and can say it, but sometimes we think pride is strength. Doing things out of pride, being competitive or whatever, that is strength. But really, that, again, to use the word machismo or whatever, that sort of shapes that, we've got to realize that strength is defined very differently in Scripture and by the Jesus that we follow. And so don't see things like love or emotion as weakness, but see them as the strengths that they actually are. Because what you just said, Grant, as you were talking about Jesus and all that he went through and the fact that he still did not sin, that takes strength, unbelievable strength.
Yeah. When you even read Paul, I read this yesterday, when he said God's power is made perfect in his weakness. So he'll boast all the more of his weakness, that Christ's power may be more clearly proclaimed. We talked in the first part very briefly about we can often build up walls to protect ourselves. And I like that picture for those who really value machismo. Because if we saw a guy hiding from a conflict behind a wall, we say that's not a strong person. It would be the person that's willing to step beside that wall or tear down that wall and stand in that gap and say, all right, what am I facing here? And be vulnerable, and let their barrier down. Have a soft heart and stand there and say, all right, Lord, what would you have me do in this situation? Not just say, no, I'm a stoic, strong man. Let's shut that down. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting. Factoid thoughts? Oh, sorry, Josh.
No. Go ahead, factoid.
Well, no, I'll just say that I think it's just an inherent misunderstanding of our culture that we think vulnerability equates to weakness, and that's not what that means. Vulnerability can take a lot of different forms in our lives. Being vulnerable in a putting yourself in a vulnerable situation for, in order to protect someone can be strength. Like, you're technically vulnerable, but you are, it's your care for someone else that's doing that. It's not because you're weak. It's because you are mustering the strength to make yourself vulnerable. And I think that same mentality can be taken into a lot of aspects of our life, where it's not about making sure that you always appear strong and that nothing gets to you. It's about making the what's the kind of spin I'm trying to put on it. They essentially, taking the step to put yourself out there and to make sure that you can be there for the people that need you. And that doesn't always mean making yourself this kind of like big stoic figure. Sometimes it means being softer and opening up to other people, whether that be the people that you're close to, or you're, a stranger on the street. You need to help them. That you need to make yourself more open to that and to reaching out to people. I think that's all a part of being vulnerable with each other.
It makes me think of, and I think this is in line with the conversation, raising kids, especially girls. There were times that I did not react right, said something I shouldn't have said, had an attitude I shouldn't have had with them. And Bridget was really good at encouraging me to go and apologize if needed. And then I kind of learned to do that. And think about that as a dad. You're apologizing to a 6-year-old girl, and everything in you is like, no, that kid can deal with it. They need to toughen it, whatever. And those were some of the hardest. Yeah, there you go. Those were some of the hardest things that I ever had to try and do. It was to go and apologize for doing something. But looking back now, and this isn't just to pat myself on the back, I'm sure, Jeff, you and Grant, with your kids, you've done this. Like, that takes strength. But what you're doing is you're acknowledging your weakness. You're acknowledging you've messed up. You're acknowledging you don't have everything it takes to be the right, perfect dad or whatever that role is. So even if you're apologizing to your wife, I know we've all done that probably multiple times. But that's that idea. You're talking about weakness. It's in our weakness that he, his strength is seen. And I think it's in that, because the only way that I'm able to go and be genuine in an apology to my daughters when they were younger was to let the Holy Spirit do that. And they remember that now. They don't necessarily remember me getting upset or remembering this or that. They remember Dad apologizing. And you think, oh, well, then that's been powerful. That's where strength is. So from having a heart that was willing or learning how to be soft to God's work, his conviction, I need to seek forgiveness and I need to be tender and soft-hearted towards my daughters. The great that's come from that. I wish I had apologized many, many more times than I actually did.
You could say sorry for not saying sorry. Keep it going.
Isn't that like sorry, not sorry? Or I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Cancels each other out.
It's a double negative.
Yeah, but it's all in that realm of it. Really, the strength is found in doing the things that generally people think are signs of weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's what. So Paul said that in 2 Corinthians 12, starting verse 9. It just says, "He said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, and in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong.'" So I love that. I mean, it's God's strength, obviously, because we're admitting it's God that is strong, not us. But I love at the very end, he says, "When I am weak, then I am strong." So it's almost as if God's power becomes our power when we're willing to be weak or have soft hearts, and be wrong.
Affirmative.